Tonight's truth bomb. The most intimate thing you can touch is not skin. It is a mind that feels safe with you. Welcome back to Podcast for Love. I am your host, and if you are new here, pull up a chair. We are a community that treats intimacy like art class for grown-ups. No shame, no weird rules, just honesty, clarity, and that low, steady heat you carry all day and take home at night. Tonight we are going to talk about the kind of connection that does not shout to be seen. It hums. It lingers. It rewires how two people breathe around each other. If you have ever felt your relationship slip into autopilot, if you have ever wondered why checking the boxes leaves both of you oddly empty, this one is for you. I want to offer a picture, not a movie scene. A quiet apartment on a Tuesday. The kind of night where dishes are drying on a rack, a half-folded sweater sits on the couch, and both of you are a little tired from being heroic humans all day. This is not fireworks at midnight. This is the slow orbit of two people who promise to try. Maybe you are him, maybe you are her, maybe you are both in this story, because relationships are mirrors that face each other. He thinks closeness is mostly about what he does. She knows closeness is mostly about how she feels while it is happening. He imagines a finish line. She listens for music. He is counting minutes. She is measuring attention. When those two worlds do not meet, touch becomes a checklist. And checklists cannot lead anyone to wonder. Here is the reframe that saves couples from drifting into polite roommates. Intimacy is not a skill you perform on someone. It is a language you build with them. If you want the nights to matter, teach your nervous systems to trust each other. That is the whole game. Trust turns tiny signals into a symphony. Trust turns a hand on the shoulder into electricity. Trust makes ordinary rooms feel like secret gardens. Without trust, even impressive technique lands like noise. With trust, the minimal becomes magic. So, how do you speak that language? Especially if you were taught to be tough, to keep your voice even, to fix problems by doing more and feeling less. You learn to work with 3 ingredients that do not show up on most checklists: pace, presence, permission. Pace is the rhythm that says we can take our time. Presence is the attention that says, I am right here. Nothing else is louder than you. Permission is the green light that says, this is our choice, not a duty. Blend those 3, and you get a 4th thing people forget to name: play. Not childish, not careless. Play as in curiosity. Play as in 2 adults who trust each other enough to explore the edges of what feels alive without needing to make it a stunt. When a relationship has pace, presence, permission, and play, the room already feels different before a single hand moves. Let me show you what that sounds like, because the mind is the sexiest instrument, and words are how you tune it. You do not need a script, you need a signal. A simple line that tells her nervous system, this is a warm place. Something like, I want to slow down with you tonight. No pressure, just us. When you say that and you mean it, the body hears it. Shoulders drop, breathing deepens, and the energy that usually leaks out through stress has somewhere to land. If that sentence feels too formal for you, translate it into your dialect. Let's chill, lock the world out, and enjoy each other's vibe. The exact words do not matter. The intention matters. Slowness is not the absence of passion. It is the pregame that turns passion from loud to resonant. Presence looks like care in small decisions. You dim a harsh light because you know eyes get tired. You put your phone away without making a speech because distraction is the enemy of heat. You notice what music makes her smile and what silence makes her feel held. Presence is not performative. It is not heavy. It is lightweight attention, steady enough to say, I see you even when we are not doing anything. Some people think presence is an introvert superpower. It is actually a generosity superpower. It makes the other person feel like home. Permission is the heartbeat of everything we do here. Consent is not a legal checkbox. It is the art of making someone feel safe to be expressive. When both of you practice it, you create a loop of yes, that keeps renewing itself. Ask cleanly. Listen fully. Adjust gladly. That is permission in motion. It sounds like, "Is this good?" Or "Want me to slow down?" Or "Tell me what you love right now." There is nothing unsexy about clarity. In fact, vagueness is what kills the mood. Clear is kind. Kind is exciting. Put those three together and play shows up like an old friend. Play is the difference between routine and ritual. Routine is automatic. Ritual is intentional. Routine says we always do it this way. Ritual says we choose a familiar doorway, then explore new rooms. That is where novelty lives. Not in shock value, in fresh attention. If you have been together years, you do not need to reinvent yourselves as different people. You need to meet again as the same people paying new attention. That is what keeps long love hot. The willingness to be surprised by the person you already know. Now, let us talk psychology. The deep and sensual kind. The craving most people carry is not for grand gestures. It is for coherence. The inner child wants to know the adult in front of them will not disappear mid-conversation. The anxious mind wants to know its signals will not be dismissed. The guarded heart wants to know it is allowed to be soft without being judged. If you become the person who consistently offers coherence, signals that are taken seriously, softness that is honored, you will be amazed how naturally the body responds. Desire is a trust exercise the nervous system conducts in milliseconds. When she senses she is safe in your focus, her body becomes a place she enjoys living in. When you feel wanted for who you actually are, your courage to be present increases. Two regulated nervous systems create heat without chaos. That is adult chemistry. There is a moment I love describing because it is where many couples unlock something new. The room is quiet. You sit close enough to feel each other's warmth but not crowd. You are not rushing toward any single goal. You are studying microexpressions the way you would study the face of someone telling you a favorite secret. You notice how her inhale changes when you touch her forearm. You notice the way her shoulders relax when you slow your pace. You are not guessing. You are reading. She notices you're reading. That is the loop. I show up, you see me, you adjust, I open more, you see more, we both feel braver. This is not flashy, but it is lightning in disguise. Here is a low-key experiment that stays inside the lines, safe and subtle, that tunes the psychology without getting graphic. Invite her to close her eyes for 2 breaths while you talk to her in the soft voice you save for times when the world is shut out. Tell her exactly what you appreciate about her presence, not her body as objects, her presence as experience. I love how calm I feel when you lean into me. I love the way your laugh lives in this room. I love that we can be quiet and it still feels full. Appreciation is an aphrodisiac because it removes comparison from the quote. Table. You are not measuring her. You are meeting her. And because she cannot see your face for a second, her other senses turn up just enough to make those words land like warm rain. This is psychology. She is not performing. She is receiving. And you are not performing. You are attuning. Another subtle lever is rhythm. Not the kind you count, the kind you communicate. People are built to sync up. Walk next to someone long enough and your steps will match. Breathe next to someone long enough and your rib cages will act like they are sharing a song. That is free intimacy. Borrow it. Start by matching her pace of breathing for a few moments. Then, invite a slower pace by example. It is not a trick. It is kindness to an overstimulated brain. When breathing slows, thinking softens, and the mind can finally ride the wave of sensation without clinging to the shore of overanalysis. You are making space for emotion to arrive. Emotion is the color that turns touch into story. A word about playfulness, because lightness is part of deep sensuality, and couples forget this when life gets dense. You do not need to be a comedian. You need to be willing to be a little silly to keep the atmosphere elastic. Whisper a line that makes both of you grin. Tease the day, not each other's insecurities. Share a private in-joke that only exists in your kitchen. That creates intimacy the world cannot understand, which makes it feel even closer. Laughter is not the opposite of heat. It is one of its safest doors. When people ask for techniques, they often want a map with landmarks. Do this, then that. But in the land of adult love, maps are less useful than compasses. A compass points to attunement. Check in and you will know where you are. Check in again and you will know if you have drifted. If you want a sentence that works like a compass in almost every scenario, try this one. Tell me if you want more, less, or different. It gives permission to edit the moment without drama. It says, I am not attached to being right. I am attached to being with you. That is unbelievably attractive. I also want to talk about leadership in the most misunderstood sense. Leadership in intimacy is not control. It is stewardship of the vibe. You take responsibility for the tone you bring into the room. You clean up your stress before you offer closeness. You slow your mind before you ask someone else to open theirs. If you decide to guide, you guide the atmosphere first, not the other person. Then, if you feel her relax into your steadiness, continue. If you feel hesitation, pause and ask. The strongest signal of mature desire is the ability to adjust without sulking. That is what makes someone feel safe to follow your lead. Next time, they know your ego will not punish them for speaking. Novelty matters, but let us keep it artful. You do not need to cross legal or moral lines to feel new. Change the soundtrack. Change the time of day. Change the tempo. Write a tiny note and leave it in a pocket that says, later, let's disappear from the world for an hour. Switch the order of how you usually do things. Bring in a scent that reminds you both of a trip you loved. Make a familiar room feel like a new chapter. The point is to keep wonder in the rotation. Wonder is not the same as surprise. Wonder is the feeling that something ordinary contains more than you expected. It is a very adult kind of magic. Let me bring you into a scene to show how all of this lives in a single evening. The door closes on the noise of the day. You look at each other and you both know you are tired, but you are also a little hungry for each other's calm. You pour water, not wine. You light one candle or turn on a lamp with a soft shade. You sit close, but you do not rush. You ask, "How is your body tonight?" She laughs, a little startled by the question, then answers, "Tired neck, good mood." You smile, touch her shoulder in a way that says, "I heard the first part more than the second." You are gentle without being precious. You match her breath for a few cycles without announcing it. Then your voice naturally slows. You say, "Let's make tonight easy." She nods. The moment is already different. No one is performing. No one is chasing. Presence is doing the heavy lifting. As you talk, you pay attention to the words that make her eyes warm. You follow those threads and you leave the edgy topics for another day. You are curating the vibe. At some point, you invite a moment of quiet, not stiff silence, just two people leaning into each other and letting their nervous systems braid. You encourage her to close her eyes if she wants to. Promise to keep talking softly so she feels oriented, and you paint a quick picture of the two of you somewhere you both love. The brain is listening. The body follows. You are not hypnotizing. You are harmonizing. The room feels almost musical. Nothing graphic has happened, yet the energy is unmistakably intimate. This is the mind-first path. It is slower to start and deeper once it gets going. Now let us talk about after. After is the part many skip, and it is where trust keeps growing roots. After is not only about what happens when the lights go off. After is the way you treat the next morning as part of the same song. A small message, a gentle compliment, a thank you for last night, not as a scorecard, as a recognition. People want to be remembered, not reviewed. When you thread aftercare into your normal life, your partner learns that connection with you does not end when the scene ends. It continues in coffee, in car rides, in small jokes. That continuity makes the next time easier because the bridge is already there. If you are listening and thinking, "This sounds beautiful, but my relationship has tension," or we have drifted too far, or we are buried under kids and bills and parents and deadlines. Here is the honest encouragement. You do not need a perfect week to start. You need one clean hour. Protect it the way you would protect an appointment that matters. Lower the bar for success. The goal is not grand passion every single time. The goal is reconnection. A few minutes of real presence do more for a long relationship than a night of over-planning that collapses under pressure. Let it be human. Let it be a little awkward. Everything worth keeping is a little awkward at first. There is another layer here that will change your life if you let it. Self-knowledge is foreplay. The more you know how your own nervous system rides the waves of desire and retreat, the more gracefully you can navigate together. If you get overwhelmed easily, own that and ask for softer starts. If you need clear signals, ask for a spoken yes. If you carry old hurts that flare up, name them outside of intimate moments so they do not hijack the scene. Lovers are not mind readers. They are teammates who win by telling the truth early, and telling the truth is unbelievably attractive when it is done with kindness. I can hear someone ask, does this mean we can never go bold? Not at all. It means boldness grows best in gardens of trust. The braver you are with listening, the braver you can be with leading. The better you get at reading, the more playful you can be with surprise. The stronger your aftercare, the more exciting your next adventure feels. Adult heat is built on reliability, not performance anxiety. People open where they feel safe, not where they feel tested. That is not just psychology. That is wisdom. So tonight, if you do one thing, let it be this. Offer one clear sentence that sets the tone. I want to enjoy you slowly. Or, let us turn the world down and us up. Touch the atmosphere before you touch anything else. See what happens when you pay attention to breath instead of clocks. Notice the moment her shoulders soften. Notice the way you feel when you stop competing with your day and start partnering with your evening. You do not need 100 techniques. You need a few dependable signals that tell two nervous systems the coast is clear to be alive together. If you are a woman listening, you are not a passenger in this. Your yes and your no are road signs. Your feedback is not critique, it is collaboration. If you have been waiting to be led in a way that feels caring and confident, say so without apology. If you want to lead sometimes, say that with a smile. The sexiest couples I know have traded the myth that one person drives and the other rides for a different story. Two people can take turns holding the map, while the compass of consent keeps them both oriented. That is grown love. That is stable heat. Let us close where we began. The most intimate thing you can touch is a mind that feels safe with you. Bodies will meet wherever minds are at peace. Your job is not to impress your partner into surrender. Your job is to make surrender feel like the safest, easiest, most natural thing in the room. Pace will help you. Presence will guide you. Permission will free you. Play will keep you both young in ways that matter. And the apartment on the quiet Tuesday will start to glow again. Like it used to. Like it can. Because two people decided not to live on autopilot. If this episode stirred something in you, take it as a sign to try a softer start tonight. If it gave you a language for what you have always felt, share it with someone you love. And if you want more deep dives into the psychology of adult intimacy, hit subscribe, drop a comment with the words "slow is spicy," and tell me one line you are going to use this week to set the tone. Your stories help other couples feel brave enough to practice. Until next time, be gentle with your own nervous system, be generous with each other's, and remember that real heat is patient. It does not rush. It returns.